prevented you from seeking these materials from the White House
is known for
months, Mr. Chairman, for months.
I'm not a mind reader.
And I thank you for making a very clean record for any court that will look at this.
The gentleman from North Carolina said
an accommodation
months ago the White House could have raised the concern, and they didn't. The answer is since 2 days ago. I'm not
asking the question about since 2 days ago, although nothing.
That's when they first raised the concern.
Nothing prevented you from writing a letter within the last 2 days or reaching out to the White House before this.
Now you want me to be clairvoyant and read the White House's mind and write a letter before they tell us something?
Nothing.
Welcome back, Patriots, to Freedom Voice. If you thought the swamp couldn't get more shameless, buckle up. Because during the latest House Judiciary Committee showdown, we saw Adam Schiff, yes, that Adam Schiff, try to corner Jim Jordan about so-called lack of communication with the White House over subpoenas. And folks, let me tell you, it was another primetime example of the left's obsession with process over principle.
Gentleman from California withdraws point of order who seeks recognition. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, much as I don't like certain parts of the Mazars decision, it clearly applies in this case, and the committee is required to engage with the White House in order to seek an accommodation over materials held by a private party, as they were in the Mazars case, and seek to resolve this with the White House. So I would ask unanimous consent that we enter into the record your correspondence to the White House.
No objection.
Seeking to engage them to resolve this. And I thank the chairman for not objecting. Can you produce that correspondence to the White House asking for accommodation on these materials you've sought by this subpoena?
First time they reached out to us was 2 days ago.
Yes, and of course the author expressed the concern that these materials may implicate interests of the executive. I think that was weeks ago. But having admitted without dissent your correspondence to the White House, can you produce that for us where you have sought an accommodation, where you've sought to work this out with the White House? Can you share that with us since that is now part of the record?
Well, I thought you had it. You wanted to enter it into the record.
I do. I presume that, knowing your responsibilities, you have sought to engage the White House. So,
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Produce the
recognized for point of order.
I think a unanimous consent request to submit something to the record is where the person who's asking for the floor is the proponent of submitting information that member has. I don't believe it's appropriate to ask a unanimous consent request to engage in a colloquy over discovering information or obtaining information from another member of the committee.
Great, and that's why I said that no objection to the unanimous consent request. If the gentleman from California wants to talk about that and present it to us, God bless him. He's allowed to do it. So it's 5 minutes.
I would like clarification from the chairman. Does this mean that there is no correspondence from you to the White House seeking accommodation on this material?
We've had all kinds of correspondence with the White House on this broad subject relative to the Zwonitzer and the letter we got 2 days ago. We've not corresponded with the White House yet. And we will, we may. That's a decision we'll make.
And you have not corresponded with the White House seeking accommodation ever since the author who you are subpoenaing and seeking to hold in contempt articulated the view that there was executive interest and potential privilege over this material. You haven't sought to engage over the weeks since you received that communication?
We have not engaged with the White House since the letter on the 25th of this month, 2 days ago.
And prior to that time, did you engage the White House in an effort to obtain these materials?
All kinds of engagements with our counsel and counsel.
I'm talking about
the Justice Department and White House with our counsel over the last several months relative to the special counsel
this subpoena, Mr. Chairman. Did you engage with the White House at any time in the last several weeks since issuing this subpoena, the one you want to hold this witness in contempt for? Did you ever engage with the White House in an effort to accommodate, an effort to reach an agreement, an effort to prevent this from having to be litigated? Did you ever write any correspondence, make any call to the White House seeking to engage, seeking to get these materials that you're seeking from the author instead from the White House? Did you ever do that, Mr. Chairman?
We're seeking documents from a private individual who I might add tried to destroy the evidence.
I guess the question is, I guess the answer is no.
Since 2 days ago.
The answer is no.
The answer is since 2 days ago, I have not.
I'm not asking the question about since 2 days ago, although nothing
That's when they
prevented
first raised the concern.
Nothing prevented you from writing a letter within the last 2 days or reaching out to the White House before this.
Now you want me to be clairvoyant and read the White House's mind and write a letter before they tell us something?
Nothing prevented you from seeking these materials from the White House.
California is known
for months, Mr. Chairman. For months.
I'm not a mind reader.
And I thank you for making a very clean record for any court that will look at this.
That you never
North Carolina
sought
an accommodation
months ago the White House could have raised the concern, and they
obtain
didn't.
these documents. Because your first move, of course, is to go right to contempt. Ironically, of course, for a chairman who was in contempt of his own subpoena.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
We're still waiting for you to testify and meet the obligations of your own subpoena, Mr. Chairman. But nevertheless, I appreciate you're making such a clean record for any court in this case that you have never sought an accommodation, never written to the White House, never called the White House, never had a communication with the White House in order to obtain these materials as part of an accommodation. Thank you for that very clean record for the court, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Who seeks recognition?
Now let's break this down. Adam Schiff, the same guy who pushed the bogus Russia collusion hoax for years, who misled the American people time and time again, is now lecturing Jim Jordan about transparency and procedure? Give me a break. Jim Jordan, one of the few voices actually fighting for the truth, made it clear that there was some communication with the White House, but Schiff wouldn't let it go, pressing him over whether enough outreach was made. Since when does defending our constitutional oversight responsibilities mean bowing down and begging the executive branch for accommodation? This is what the left does, Patriots. They weaponize process to distract from substance. They don't care about the facts. They care about control. Let's be real. Schiff doesn't want transparency. He wants leverage. He wants to twist every tool of government into a weapon against anyone who doesn't kneel to the narrative. And Jordan? He wasn't having it. Jordan understands something Schiff refuses to accept. Congress has a duty to investigate, especially when it comes to executive actions that affect we the people. But Schiff wants to pretend executive privilege is some magic shield that makes everything off limits. Unless, of course, it's a Republican president. Then it's open season. Funny how that works, right? The American people are sick of this double standard. If we're going to restore faith in our government, then committees like Judiciary must be relentless in their pursuit of truth, not get bogged down in games of appeasement. I stand with Jim Jordan because he's not just fighting for paperwork. He's fighting for accountability, for transparency, and for the truth. And to Schiff and his ilk, we see through the charade. We remember your lies, your smears, your endless witch hunts. You don't get to lecture anyone on integrity. This country needs fighters, not showboaters, not manipulators. And as long as the left keeps trying to stonewall justice, you can bet your last dollar we'll keep speaking out. Loud and proud, this is Freedom Voice, and I'll see you on the next one.